Right, and then so I'll admit everyone. Here we go.
Rico, I hope you'll have some time to share your your conference that you went to in Hawaii too.
Gosh, I'd love to.
Oh, absolutely. Take some time for that. Absolutely. That's important.
Anytime anyone gives me a platform, I'm like, have I told you about the Ryukyus? Hello and welcome all. Thank you for joining us. We're still letting folks in as we're arriving. I'm seeing some new faces. Feel free to drop in the chat your name and where you're calling from, and something that inspired you today. And feel free to come off mute as well if that's easier than typing into the chat. So welcome.
El Paso, Texas, Damien.
Welcome, Damien. And I'll say I'm Mariko. For those of you that don't know me, I'm helping out with Order of the Sacred Earth, and I live on Abenaki land in the state of Vermont.
I'm Dave from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. Thanks for joining.
Hi, my name's Tom. I live in Lincoln, Massachusetts, and I'm thrilled to be here. It was good to be with Matthew earlier today.
I'm Dennis Rivers, and I live in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm about halfway through Brian Swim's memoir, Cosmogenesis.
Welcome, Dennis.
Krista, you're talking, but you're muted.
Oh, okay. So how
See
do
your
I
mouth moving. Yeah, there you go.
I don't sit neither my name nor my picture is coming up.
Oh, we can.
We're seeing your name and picture.
You are?
Sorry, you aren't.
Yeah.
How odd. I guess I deleted it for myself and not know it. So yeah, so you can see me and hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, I better watch out what I do. I better not pick my nose thinking you're not seeing me. Okay.
That's great to have you, Crystal. For those that don't know, where are you calling from?
From the land of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and I forgot the other one. Some people call it Colorado.
The Ute.
And that's it.
Welcome, Crystal. All right.
My name's Aaron, and I'm also in Colorado on Cheyenne Arapaho land, not too far from Ute land. And part of my mixed ancestry is actually also Mohawk, up not too far, Mariko, from where you're located, more in the central upstate New York area.
Wonderful. Nice to be connected on the East Coast like that. And welcome. And would anybody else like to share? I know we've spent a little bit of time on. Please know that whether or not you share your name, you are welcome into our circle. And so I guess with that, we'll transition and sort of into the housekeeping sort of portion of the call and just orient for some of the new folks that are joining us for the first time. This is the Order of the Sacred Earth, and we spend 1 hour every month gathered together in this council, learning the wisdom and sharing from the heart. And so the first part of our time together, we usually hear reflections from Matthew, from Skylar Wilson, who unfortunately is unable to be with us today. His father sadly passed away, and so we're sending him a lot of love and prayer and ease during this transition, this delicate time. And he really wanted to be here, but is unable to. And myself, I help to facilitate some of these calls alongside Matthew and Skylar. And we usually have reflections. And today we're going to be joined by Aaron Perry, who will be speaking a little bit about himself and the organization that he is part of and the work that he's doing in the world. And then we'll transition into the latter half, which is reflections as a group, popcorn style, speaking from the heart, whatever is alive for us. And for those of us in pods, it's an opportunity to share things that we've been doing within our groups. And so, yeah, that's sort of the general orientation to our call today. And so I guess with that, I will give a brief introduction. Hopefully you all have had a chance to look at the newsletter, which outlines Aaron and sort of some of his background. But Aaron is a writer, public speaker, an impact entrepreneur, consultant, artist, and father. He's the author of Why on Earth? Get Smarter, Feel Better, Heal the Planet. And he works with the Why on Earth community team and impact ambassadors to spread the thriving and sustainability messages of hopeful and empowering information and inspiration to diverse communities throughout the world. So with all of that, we thought it would be a really great opportunity to welcome Aaron into our community to hear more from him in person. And with that, I'll pass it to Matt to give a few reflections, and then we'll turn it over to Aaron.
I just want to add to that biography, Aaron's new book. It's a novel called Viriditas. Some of you have heard that word. The Great Healing is Within Our Power, and a visionary eco-thriller. So it's pretty ambitious too. You look at the thickness of it, but it looks really exciting. And obviously, Aaron brings lots of creativity, whatever he does. He has a podcast. I think, have you interviewed me, or are we going to be interviewed? I don't remember. I don't keep track. But
Upcoming.
upcoming interview. Okay, that's good. Fine. So I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, here's Aaron, and I love the name of his organization, Why on Earth. It raises all kinds of questions, because I think it can be interpreted in many ways. Like, why are we on Earth? Or why on earth are we acting the way we are? Or both of the above? And so I kind of like that. So welcome, Aaron. And also Aaron is what should I say? He's been reading our Order of Sacred Earth literature, and he's interested in seeing about connections between his organization, Why on Earth, and the Order of Sacred Earth. So I think whatever you have to say will be of interest to all of us.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Mariko. I really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you all today. And I put together a few PowerPoint slides to show you, just so that there are some visuals as I'm speaking about the work that we're doing at the Why on Earth community. And if I can share my screen, I guess somebody would need to enable the screen sharing for me to show this.
Hey,
Rico, you know how to do that?
Yeah, try it now.
Yep, this looks great. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then let me just move one thing here if I'm able. And okay, so yeah, the Why on Earth community is an action-oriented educational nonprofit. And we help folks connect the dots between global strategies for stewardship, regeneration, and sustainability on the one hand, and personal, family, community strategies for enhanced health, well-being, prosperity, and thriving on the other hand. We do this through a variety of offerings. Some of these are in-person workshops, gatherings, ceremonies, retreats, and some of this is through online offerings. For example, we also once a month have an online meetup, our Regeneration Renaissance Roundtable, which we actually just launched at the beginning of this year. And this coming Sunday, it's the first Sunday of the month at 11:33 a.m. Mountain Time. You're welcome to join if you'd like. And if you go to whyonearth.org, it's the letter Y on earth.org. And yeah, the title "Why on Earth" has a number of meanings, as Matthew mentioned, including one that refers to Gen Y, the millennial generation, which I personally missed by 4 years, being born in 1976. But both of my adult children are millennials. My daughter's 25, my son is 20. He's on the cusp on the other end. And so this was also put together in 33 chapters in a manner thinking about their experience of the world and the future that we're cultivating for them. Of course, there are other meanings like invoking the medieval Pythagorean Y, the image that some of you may be familiar with. And I want to keep this brief so that I'm not diving into too many details here, and I'll share any other time you'd like on the Pythagorean Y. But another piece we've done this month is a 4-part Regeneration Renaissance series at a wonderful community gathering place in downtown Boulder. I'm currently on a regenerative farm outside of Boulder. And this coming Friday evening, we're actually doing our final installment called Economics of Regeneration. And our guest speaker is Charles Eisenstein. It'll be a lot of fun to have him here. And I'm actually going to be recording a podcast interview with him as well. And then on the right there, you may see the Ostara Spring Equinox Sound Healing and Biodynamic Land ceremony that we shared last weekend or 2 weekends ago. I'm losing track of time. We've had so many events. And this was with my sweetheart, Caressa, whose organization, iFlow Studio, offers sound healing and Jinshin Jitsu energy medicine work, and we love collaborating together. That was a really beautiful ceremony. We do quite a bit of that here on the land and elsewhere, really around the country. We also, as Matthew mentioned, have a podcast series. This can all be found at whyonearth.org. We do video and audio. We've published 130 episodes now, so you're seeing a glimpse here of some of the past guests. And we've had a number of notable folks like Kate Williams, the CEO of 1% for the Planet, David Beasley, who has these past several years been leading the United Nations World Food Program, which was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize a few years ago under his leadership. Tom Chi, the founder of At One Ventures, Elizabeth Whitlow, the director of the Regenerative Organic Alliance, Hunter Lovins, John Liu, the founder of Ecosystem Restoration Camps, and many others. Indigenous wisdom keepers, farmers, herbalists, youth activists like Shie Bastida you see here on the screen. And it's such a wonderful way to connect and amplify voices of folks doing really wonderful work all around the planet. And one of the things we work with quite often is the biodynamic land medicine, which we like to refer to as land alchemy or earth alchemy, in partnership with a number of different biodynamic farmers and practitioners. And it's so much fun because we're in the soil with our hands, connecting with the elements, connecting with our bodies, and also working with some of the cosmic forces and esoteric threads that might otherwise remain pretty abstract. This is a really great way to ground some of that work that we're doing in stewardship of land and water and food and biosphere. And of course, biodynamics were first articulated by Rudolf Steiner, who about 100 years ago essentially amalgamated a number of different indigenous and folk traditions from throughout Eurasia and elsewhere, along with several esoteric threads. And this quote, I think, is a really important one that embodies some of the symbolic and less obvious aspects of the work we're doing. And he said this 100 years ago. He said, the most important thing is to make the benefits of our agricultural preparations available to the largest possible areas over the entire earth, so that the earth may be healed and the nutritive quality of its produce improved in every respect. This is a problem of nutrition. Nutrition as it is today does not supply the strength necessary for manifesting the spirit in physical life. A bridge can no longer be built from thinking to will and action. Food plants no longer contain the forces people need for this. Of course, when he articulated this in 1924, we were just at the very beginnings of what has been a century of, one could say, chemical warfare across the entire planet and all of us humans. And there's so much opportunity for healing work, and some would say necessity. And working with the biodynamics, in my experience, and many of the folks we collaborate with, provides a really hopeful pathway for embodied and grounded healing for ourselves, our communities, and our shared planet. And of course, essential to all of this work is an intimate relationship with Mother Nature, Mama Gaia, as I like to refer to her in that novel Veriditas that Matthew showed us a little bit ago. And with the Y on Earth community, we recently launched the Veriditas Society, which is our quieter arm where we do this ceremonial work together in wilderness, on farms, etc. And we'll be traveling around the country in the coming months and years, and probably going to be up in the New England Northeast area this summer, it looks like. So would love to connect with you wherever you are, virtually and or in person, to share some of this beautiful, grounded, and humble work together. And of course, yeah, we've got some books. Y on Earth and Veriditas are lengthy, notwithstanding the great editing we had on the projects. We also have a really succinct soil stewardship handbook that might be of interest to you all. And just want to share, if you use the code GRATIS, GRATIS, on the website, you can get any of these in ebook or audiobook. Y on Earth's available as an audiobook for free with that code. So I encourage you to check those out. We also have children's books and some other resources as well. And we're currently working on a book focused on regenerative finance, social enterprise, stewardship, philanthropy, and ecocene economics in collaboration with a number of really thoughtful folks contributing essays and excerpts from existing writings, so that this resource is not only full of strategies and structures we can implement in the context of our business and economic and nonprofit worlds, but also some of the deeper observations regarding how we've gotten ourselves into the pickle that we're in as a global family on one shared planet Earth. And so it's exciting that this is coming together. We're evolving our economy and financial systems, and particularly from a linear extraction model, like you see in the upper right-hand corner, that's been sort of the fundamental orthodoxy of economic theory for many decades, into a more circular, closed loop, and stewardship-oriented mode of conducting business and caring for each other and our shared home. And so all of that can be distilled down to, I think, very simple and important concepts and energies for us to embody: kindness and love. And it's with a real sense of joy and gratitude that I have this opportunity to share a little with you about the Y on Earth community, the work we're doing. We do have a growing global network of ambassadors. We joke calling it the Community Impact Ambassadors. We joke and say you too can join the CIA. Yeah, with that, I wanted to just share a super succinct. I can be quite verbose generally, and there's a lot more that we could share, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview as to some of the things that we're offering and developing. And again, thanks for the opportunity to visit and share with you all today, and would absolutely love to cross-pollinate and cross-link. We think in terms of neuronal network strategies for collaboration, much like how the mycelial networks work within soil ecosystems and forest ecosystems and so on. And so it's a real joy to connect with you all today, and thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit.
Thank you so much, Erin. That was very succinct and quite a lot of information. Do we want to take a moment to see if anybody has questions for Erin? Maybe we could take till 7:30 or the 30 past the hour.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a fire hose. So if it was a lot, I appreciate a little time for integration. It looks like Dennis might be
Dennis,
saying.
feel free to come off mute and ask your question. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, Erin, thank you so much for your presentation. I want to hear what you see as the largest challenge on your horizon this coming year, now that spring is coming and new flowers are blooming and everybody's getting out and going for walks in the fresh air. I want to hear what is the big challenge on your horizon for the coming year.
Thank you, Dennis. That's appreciated. I think that whatever challenge I'm thinking of is also really an opportunity, and it probably has three parts. We, are at a point of critical mass, and thank goodness there's so much. We refer to this regeneration renaissance, and there's so much activity and awakening happening worldwide that I'm sure each of you is aware of in different ways. And with all of that, we as an organization have tremendous opportunities to help bring forward projects and offerings that can scale for the planet. And we're working on some things that are quasi top secret as we're collaborating among a number of different organizations and thought leaders. And with all of that, there's the importance of maintaining the balance, which for me means a lot of time in the wilderness. And of course, as an organization, raising the resources needed to do the work that we're doing is an ongoing part of the stewardship, much like tending a garden. And so, yeah, that's really it's with great enthusiasm and gratitude that I share, Dennis, that we've got so much happening now, that a big part of what's essential is to make sure to have that quiet time, that time in prayer, reflection, meditation, and for me, that means a lot of time in the wilderness. And yeah, to whatever extent we can collaborate and lift each other up and share resources of any form is always really appreciated.
What do you find in the Order of the Sacred Earth that most appeals to you and your organization, your vision with the Why on Earth project?
Yeah, Matthew, thanks for asking that. And I was raised Catholic with a profound connection with nature and had a very extraordinary initiatic experience, you could call it, at the age of 5 in the woods of the Pacific Northwest, and had from an early time a deep sense of knowing around how important this period of time is for our species to heal psycho-spiritually and directly in our relationship with our living world. And there's been so much, having been raised Catholic. I attended a Jesuit high school. Thank goodness. It was a wonderful education. I've been connected to a number of different esoteric and spiritual groups, including having been invited to Sundance up in Montana with Lakota and others. And, there's so much to see and observe and understand in this great rupture between our notion of spirit and spirituality and the living material world that is part of the legacy we've inherited from the past several centuries of empire building and mammonic forces at work, you could say. And for me, Matthew, to have such a richness of spiritual cultivation and devotion coupled with this primacy of work with earth, with sacred earth, with Mama Gaia, and to have a sense of belonging with others, you all, that understands that it's in order to be a part of the Order of the Sacred Earth resonates with me in so many different ways. And it feels very natural when we were introduced, Matthew, through our mutual friend Bernard Amadei, who founded Engineers Without Borders. It was like this immediate connection, and of course, your work with Hildegard von Bingen is really beautiful as well. And this term Veriditas, as I understand it, was coined by her to mean something along the lines of the green healing energy of the divine that flows through plants. And so yeah, this embodied physical connected material mater mother piece of our spirituality and our work in the world for me is so important. And I'm so grateful you guys are doing what you're doing and really excited to collaborate with you. Tom?
Hey, Aaron, thanks. Really appreciate the presentation. You mentioned mom, and I'm curious in your work how you're helping people to overcome their fear of leaving mom.
Say it again, Tom. I didn't quite hear.
You mentioned Mammonic forces, and I assume you're referencing people's adoration, worship of Mammon. And I'm curious, in your experience, how you're helping people to separate, to overcome their fear of leaving something that has supported their beings.
Yeah, that's a really wonderful question, Tom, and I appreciate it. And it's one of the, I would say, most profound threads and explorations in the book Veriditas. And what comes to mind for me when thinking about the Mammonic forces is this fear, separation, power, greed impulse that seems to exist together. And since the first, erection of walled cities and expansion of resource accumulation, we've been in this dynamic that has so profoundly impacted our psycho-spiritual beingness as humans. And there's a whole lot, I would say, that is available to us to heal in this regard. And part of this is an intimate relationship with the living planet, with soil, with nature, with the wilderness, with plants, with trees. Part of this for many of us is also peeling back the veil of history and what history can teach us through many centuries of conquest and empire building. And for me, it's a both and. There's very much a personal embodied practice of releasing ourselves from fear. And I love that in the New Testament, Master Jesus Christ, apparently more than anything else, said more frequently than anything else, be not afraid. And I think when we really get into how fear has been operating in our systems, in our lives, in our societies, we'll see that a big part of our work toward liberation and self-emancipation has to do with this releasing from fear. And for me, that's a daily practice, right? I mean, it's not like a one and done. It's like an ongoing practice, like so many other aspects of our work. And so, yeah, I guess there's a lot more to say in response to that, Tom, and I appreciate it. And yeah, if you'd like to check out Veriditas, it's this wonderful adventure. It's kind of like Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code meets Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass and Starhawk's Fifth Sacred Thing with some Aldous Huxley and Umberto Eco thrown in there and others. And it's a big adventure with this super smart computer scientist, and she has to flee New York City and come out to Colorado, ditch her tech, go off grid, and has this major awakening of an experience with wilderness and biodynamic and permaculture farms, etc. So yeah, it's a very important question, Tom. Thanks for asking that.
No, thanks for the thoughtful answer, and I'll look forward to reading the book and seeing the movie when it comes out.
Yeah, we're working on that, hopefully.
I love that. Thank you so much. I feel very inspired. That little like teaser that you gave was pretty compelling. Yeah, and I'm also noticing that we're sort of at the 32 after mark. And so I'd love to move us into the sort of sharing portion of this circle. And if there's time at the end and like you're percolating and there are more questions and it seems that there is time, we can always pivot back to asking additional questions. And we have Erin's contact information as well. So definitely we'll pass that along should there be anything that comes up after the call as well. Yeah, so this portion is pretty informal, and we go in sort of popcorn style and share anything that is alive for us at this point. I don't know if Matt, if you would like to kick us off, because I know you usually do a little bit of a reflection, but just a sharing from the heart, anything that's alive for you, anything that is happening in your world with regard to Order of the Sacred Earth.
Well, one thing is I want to ask you how your conference went in Hawaii for Indigenous Okinawans. Mariko is an Indigenous Okinawan, and I want to hear about that. But as long as you asked, I did have a special experience this weekend. I had attended almost all day, it's a 6-hour Buddhist funeral, the first Buddhist funeral of my life. A friend of mine died, and it's with the Mien people, M-I-E-N. They're from northern Laos, and they've been quite persecuted over the centuries by the Chinese, not unlike the Tibetans, except the Tibetans had higher mountains to escape to. But it was a powerful experience, and I was very moved by it. And then the next day I had to give a talk online with the Tibet House people, Robert Thurman's group, because they were having a conference on dying and living, mostly on dying. And I was one of many speakers, but my talk was on reincarnation and resurrection, parallel experiences. So I'm trying to kind of bring the Buddhist view and the Christian view more together. And so it was really a 1-2 punch for me, because undergoing a Buddhist funeral was very special to me, and there's a lot of chanting and so forth. It was very familiar to me from my experience as a Catholic. The litanies, there are a lot of Buddha litanies that we sang, and but at the same time bringing together the latest Christian notions about resurrection, which are not about an empty tomb. The stories of the empty tomb are in the last Gospels, John and Luke, but the biggest writing about resurrection is in Paul, and he's the first writer and the most prolific about it. And for him, it's an experience, and the experience where he fell off the horse and was blinded for a few days. So these visitations of people who leave us, that I tell the story of this friend of mine who's Chinese and not a religious practitioner in any way, but how 3 months after his mother died, she appeared to him at the end of her bed, and they had a conversation for an hour on such topics as remember the values I taught you and so forth. And I think these experiences are really what the resurrection thing was about. Paul says 500 people had experiences like that after Jesus died. And they had different experiences. Some ate with them, had fish and bread, and of course, many others at the Emmaus experience shared bread together, and that was like the Last Supper. And that's what the tradition picked up on that. And that really the Last Supper is a resurrection experience. And so anyway, trying to bring reincarnation and resurrection together has always been of interest to me. And I had a fun time doing it, especially in the context of losing not just that friend, but a couple other friends this past 2 weeks. At my age, this is part of the deal, that you kind of lose people, But Mariko, I want to turn the table on you and tell us briefly how exciting it might have been to gather for an Okinawan Indigenous get together on a Hawaiian island, and your first time in Hawaii.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I don't want to take up too much space, but I am incredibly passionate about talking about the Ryukyu Islands, known present day as Okinawa. And so this opportunity was is my first time on Hawaii, on the land of the Kanaka Maoli, and first time in a English speaking setting with other diasporic Okinawans or Ryukyuans. And the theme of it, so it's the Luchu Identity Summit is what it is called. And it happens every year. This is the 9th year, and next year will be their 10th year. And I will very much be in attendance. And the theme of this year is called Kajitui, which literally, well, what it means is it's like a ship steerer. And it literally means wind, bird. And so what it is the theme translated to the summit in the sense that the elders were wanting to pass their knowledge along to the next generation. And the image that went along with this Kajitui theme was one of our beautiful boats, which is very iconic. It's not a Japanese boat, it's not a Chinese boat, it's distinctly Ryukyuan. And there is a person holding the sails, and then there is somebody that is behind holding the rope behind that person. And so it's all about, it's like one thing to hold the rope and steer and navigate, but you have to be cultivating that next generation, because eventually the person that's holding the rope and steering is going to not be there anymore. And the folks that lead this organization, they're called Ukwanchin Kabudan. They are the last generation to have been in contact with the first wave of immigrants that came to Hawaii and settled and worked on the sugarcane plantations. So they had direct access to the language, which is now pretty much all but extinct because of colonization in Okinawa by the Japanese and then by the United States. And so are the cultural practices, so the dance, the music, the spirituality, all of those things are really in danger. And so this last generation is like kind of this last gasp of trying to get the next generation to be interested inside of this like old or perhaps archaic forms of our culture. But it was really well attended. There was about 90 people there, which is a lot for a diasporic community. And it was really incredible. And my favorite parts were all about the spiritual aspects of it, because it is a ancestor worship culture. And so that looks and sees the divine in all things. So it actually pairs really nicely with the work that we do here at Order of the Sacred Earth. And yeah, I'm just feeling very inspired to learn more and to find more and do it in the language of my ancestors, which is a little clunky at this point, but still trying to develop and exercise those muscles and think about the next generation. I have 2 nephews who are a quarter Ryukyuan, and so wanting to make sure that those get passed to him, passed to my nephews, to them both. Yeah. So it was really incredible. The land was amazing, truly spiritual. Like the Pele, the goddess Pele was so present, and going from kind of like a bleak Vermont climate to a vibrant island climate was really just a real joy for me. Yeah, enlivened me, my spirit on all levels, being in community with people and with elders. It was really, really meaningful for that. Yeah, so I could speak forever on this, so I will leave it there and I will pass it along to other folks. Feel free to message me if you have questions about the Ryukyus or anything like that. I would love to talk to you. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, and I'll pass it along to anybody that feels inspired. I actually was really liking you were talking about fear, Aaron, and I feel like there's a lot of fear that's steering, like in the context of steering, and like fear is not how we want to be navigating. And anyway, I just wanted to elevate that in case anybody feels compelled to share along those lines. Dennis, I see some waving and nodding. Please go ahead.
Well, I'm really aware of the themes of hatred and fear that are circulating through our culture, because I have lost several close friends who have been taken over with fear stories. So all they want to talk about, it seems, is how Dr. Fauci betrayed us all. And it's almost like it's such a dramatic story, it kind of blots out everything else. It sort of blots me out. I'm not there anymore. The only person who's there is the demonic presence of Dr. Fauci, who personally I admire Dr. Fauci. So it's hard hearing him dissed that badly. But what I realize is that, you know, the United States is, in the history of the world, the United States is a relatively young country. And our culture is kind of such of it as there is on the superficial side. We don't have things all that deep to hang on to. And along comes fear and hatred. And I see again and again this kind of weird, I hate, therefore I am. You know, like 10 minutes ago, I had no sense of direction. And now I know who I hate. I know who I fear. Now I've got a really focused sense of direction, which is located, you know, it's like centered in my adrenal glands. But I realize, well, our task as kind of cultural evolutionaries is to help people shift to, I love, therefore I am. I know that I love the earth. I know that I love these people, even all these people who disagree with me. I love them too, and hope they'll find their way to a brighter way of looking at the world. But this is so personal to me because my friends just seem to be in a deep, like they've fallen into a black hole of fear and hatred, and they're having a really hard time coming out of it. And so that, Aaron, I was thinking about how, you know, your vision is to try to get people to celebrate the earth and being alive and being part of this amazing process, which, you know, goes back to the medieval Catholic theologians with the harmony of the spheres in the Middle Ages. It goes back another 1400 years to Genesis. God created the world and saw that it was good. That is such an amazing kind of feeling to try and tune into and help other people get reconnected with. So there's my spiritual eruption for the day.
I see a hand up. Tom, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'm in South Florida, and Dennis, I like that. We need more love and less hate. That's for sure. I'm originally from Nashville, so I have a real problem right now. You all know what happened in Nashville, and it ties in with the Order of the Sacred Earth to me, in that it's all part of the same process. Here we're in Florida, along those lines in Florida, the legislature is busy trying to pass a law that is called constitutional carry, where anyone can buy a weapon with no training and carry it concealed, or I guess open, I don't know, but virtually anyone can get a weapon. How that's gonna cut down on people getting killed is beyond me. But anyway, that's what's going on. The answer, I think, to a lot of our problems, including that, and a lot of problems with our environment, is somehow, I'm always looking for simple solutions. And this is the simplest one I can come up with, is that some sort of election reform where you can't buy congressmen and you can't buy senators, that everybody has to have the same level playing field and not get a lot of money from big oil, big agriculture, big sugar, NRA, things like that. I think that would be the simple answer if we somehow could get to that election reform or whatever you want to call it, but where everybody's on the same level playing field and along that. And I have other things to say about what's going on in Florida environmentally, but I'll save that for the next meeting. Thank you for listening and thank you for being here.
May I just add a quick response to what Dennis and Tom have spoken to?
Aaron, typically, sorry, I just dropped, this is Mariko.
Hi, Mariko.
Hi again. Typically, I think we go around and then you could share in a sharing after, but and I might defer to Matt on this, but typically we like to hear from everyone without an immediate response. And then there is opportunity for sharing after. Yeah. Thank you so much, Aaron. Please do share. Please do share. And Damien, let's turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Am I unmuted?
You are.
All right, thank you. Just briefly, Aaron, that your brief presentation seems to be a beautiful organization, Why on Earth, and it's very holistic and spiritual. So I'm looking forward to reading more about it. Matthew's recent talk, my condolences for your losses of friends, but your talk recently on reincarnation, resurrection and reincarnation, and seems interesting. And since I'm a follower of yours in the daily meditations, I wonder if you've given more a meditation on that important theme of reincarnation and resurrection. And if you haven't, I look forward to hearing it, because like I've mentioned before, the last few years I've developed an interest in not only in creation spirituality, but what genuine spiritual channelers seem to offer about the non-physical dimension of life. And because they're interrelated, the physical and non-physical are interrelated. And channelers, the genuine spiritual channelers that have the gift of communicating with spirit guides and angels and our deceased loved ones, I guess they believe in reincarnation like a lot of spiritual traditions do. And they say that they're interrelated. The spiritual shifts that we're going through, personal, social, and even the earth itself, they're manifestations of spiritual shifts that include the non-physical spiritual dimension. So basically, I hope you give a meditation on that important theme of reincarnation and resurrection, Matthew. I don't know if Matthew was listening.
Oh, I heard you. Thank you. I'll take it into advisement.
Thank you, Damien. And I hope I didn't miss, I dropped from the call for a few minutes there, and yeah, feel free to, I don't know if there was anybody that had their hand up or wanted to speak. We've got about 9 minutes left or so. And so this is a time for those who might be a little more shy or to find themselves in the space. And of course, if you don't wish to speak, that's totally fine too. Crystal.
Well, I want to say to Aaron that your perspective, your words are just so full of depth and meaning and spirituality. I mean, I just feel so blessed to just get a teeny tiny taste of who you are and what you're about. So I thank you very, very much. And then to have that followed with Mariko, sorry, Mariko, telling us about your beautiful indigenous time in, I dare not say Hawaii. And, you know, I just feel so full of the depth, you know, that is presented here by everybody who has spoken and shared. But I feel the connection to the earth so deep between the two of you. And talking about how really I think I feel that we will not save the earth and the planet apart from the teaching of the indigenous elders and the animals and plants. To me, that's where my hope lies. And the two of you represented a real connection to that. So thank you for such a blessing.
Amen.
Thanks, Crystal. Just really appreciating you. You're such a friendly face and you're always on the calls. And I look to you when I'm floundering. So thank you for being that energetic support every month. Yeah. And I think maybe we have time for maybe like one or two more sharings. And if there aren't, we can pivot. Oh, Elise, you look cold.
No, I'm actually hi, Elise, Captain Elise. So grateful to be here. So Erin, I loved your talk. The part I loved was when you said you're sweetie. That was just a bliss for me. And also I love the acronym for fear: face everything and recover. I just want to thank this fabulous group, because last month, there was one of our members brought up that there would be a ceremony that we could join for the apology. And I'm the 12th descendant of William Brewster on the Mayflower, Reverend. So I'm Captain Brewster. And I'm hoping for an apology from the descendants of the Mayflower, 35 million of them, to the 5,000 now Wampanoags. And so this apology thing came up in the last meeting, and so I could get on, and I went out in my boat, my fabulous boat, and Matthew Stuart Cowan was with me, who says a big hello. So we were out. I took some people out on the boat. They had no idea what they were doing, but at the end of it, they understood they were being part of an apology that was in the field. It was created by a woman, Merle, and it was all over the world. People could register. And that kind of thing, it's just the love that gets brought forward in the spirit of people and planets and animals and comes through. And finally, I just want to thank you, Erin, for also talking about restorative for yourself, what you do to care, to tend to yourself so you can tend to the wild. It's very important to be real about that and to not lose ourselves. So in the battle of love, we continue. May we be loving. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Love that sharing. Did you say where you're calling from?
Oh, and I loved your share, Mariko, about because I'm on a boat, so I want to know more. I want to talk to you about the boats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm currently in Morden, Berkeley, California, but I'll be going to the Pacific Northwest, where Erin's from.
Thank you. Great. I think yeah, we're coming up on maybe one more sharing, or I don't know if Matt, if you wanted to close this out, we've got about 3 minutes. Any,
Maybe Aaron said he would like to respond to something he's heard today, so.
thank you
I'll
for,
give him the last word.
yeah, calling back, Aaron.
You're muted.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Such a joy connecting with each of you, and yeah, just this a reflection on this fear thing that shows up, and that so many of us are getting dopamine hits from. And one of the things we like to share is we're all farmers, farming the neurobiochemistry within our own bodies and the microbiome. And part of our practice that we can engage deeply in is working with those different neurotransmitters and endocrine chemicals, biochemicals, in order that we're getting our good feelings from the loving, kind, gentle, stewardship-oriented actions, and not in that trap of the dopamine hits coming from the adversarial dynamics that are a little too easy to find these days. So just a quick response to that sharing from earlier. And thanks again to everybody. It's wonderful connecting with you guys.
Thanks, Aaron. You did that quickly. We still have 2 minutes. Yeah. Does anybody have any last pieces to share from the heart? And if not, maybe this is just a moment for us all to integrate all that we've received. And it has been a lot of powerful sharings today, spoken and unspoken, and just your presence here means so much.
Thank you, Mariko, for hosting.
Of course.
Yes.
MCMM. Happy to do it. It's an honor. What if we, oh, Dennis, I see some fingers in the corner of your Zoom window. Do you want to share?
May each of our hearts be a window through which new kindness pours into the world.
Amen. Shay.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. That concludes our council call. Thanks for joining. And this has been recorded, so if you'd like to go back and watch it or share it with anyone, we'll be posting it to our YouTube channel. Yeah, blessed be, and we'll see you next month.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so long.
Take care, everyone.
Have fun on the boat,
Bye,
Elise.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Mariko.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.